لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أن حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا شريك لهم ولهم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا سيئة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا سيئة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قول من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أحد إليكم يا بني آدم لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضلنا منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمره ننقصه في الخلق أفلا يأكلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وظللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند مهضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحيي الذي أنشاها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون. Surah Fatiha, please.
पर मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सलावत. Brothers and sisters, brothers, please stand up, move forward, and welcome Shaykh Nabil Awan with the loudest of your 3 salawats.
ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكره وسببا للمزيد من فضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته. ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماوات بأحمد وفي الأرضين بأبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهداة المهديين، سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأراضين، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم ملعونين. أما بعد, for the happiness of Az-Zahraa Marziyah, for the enlightenment of the graves of your marhumeen, especially the marhuma who was buried today, and for the safety of the followers of Ahlul Bayt around the world, for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam, Arwahun al-Fida, please recite your loudest salawat. We are quickly reaching the end of our series of lectures exploring the divine whispers and the ways of spiritual development through the du'as of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Yesterday we spoke about one of those fundamental aspects of du'a that we ask for in this month, and that is a deep tawakkal ala Allah, a deep trust within Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowing that every single thing in existence is reliant upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we say Ya da'im al-fadli ala al-bariyya, it is that He is constantly placing His fadl upon existence. His virtues are constantly reaching existence, so existence exists. The moment He stops looking towards us, the moment He stops thinking about us, we cease to exist. The fact that I exist is that He is thinking of me. The fact that I have consciousness, whether I'm alive in this world or alive in the akhirah, the firaq is where God does not think about the individual. The person ceases to exist. This is what Amir al-Mu'mineen is referring to in Dua Kumail. فَكَيْفَ أَصْبَرُ عَلَى فِرَاقِهِ. How can I bear separation from you? Where Allah chooses that the individual ceases to exist. So having the ma'rifah of Allah, tawakkal ala Allah, is one of those essential steps in the development of the human being. And we ask for it constantly within this month. Another aspect that is extremely noticeable for those who have paid attention is this, that near enough, every one of the du'as of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam in this month, all of them begin in the singular. All of them begin in the singular. Allahumma inni aftatihu al-thana'a bihamdik. Oh Allah, I begin your praises or your glorification through your praise. All of them, by and large, begin in the singular. But all of them end in the plural. They begin asking for myself, but in the end, they end with me asking for everyone, asking as a community, as a collective. And the idea of the collective in Islam is so important. You see, as I just said in dua iftitah, Allahumma inni aftatihu al-thana'a bihamdik. Oh Allah, I begin. But yet as we finish the praise of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and we go towards the end of the dua, now we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma al-mum bihi sha'afana. Oh Allah, through him unite our flock. Through him stitch us back together. Through him, all of us, we're asking at a collective level. Allahumma adkhil ala ahli al-qubur as-surur. Allahumma aghni kulla faqir. All of this is asking for the collective, for the jama'ah, for the whole community. And this is one of the most fundamental aspects of Islam, community. Developing the community, building the community, being part of the community. There is no such thing as a lone wolf in Islam. There is no such thing in the madhab of Ahlul Bayt as being one man that has separated himself from the community. No, every single individual has a responsibility to themselves, but then also to the collective. And their responsibility to themselves is fundamentally influencing their effect upon the collective. And so when we look at the narrations that talk about community, we have a huge corpus of hadith that mention and speak about this aspect. Hadith that talk about the benefits of helping a mu'min. In fact, the Holy Prophet, he says, لَقَضَاءُ حَاجَةِ الْمُؤْمِنِ خَيْرٌ مِنْ عِتْقِ أَلْفِ نَسْمَةٍ وَمِنْ حُمْلَانِ أَلْفِ فَرَسٍ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. He says that fulfilling the single need of a believer is better than freeing 1,000 slaves, and is better than equipping 1,000 horses for the sake or the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To help one mu'min, to aid one believer in their times of difficulty. If that is through my words, if that is through my financial assistance, if that is through my advice, if that is through my dua. It is all about the collective. Even in your Salat al-Layl, the most intimate moment between Abd and Ma'bud, between the servant and the master. Even there, where I'm doing istighfar for myself, but before I even get into that, Allahumma ghfir li fulan, Allahumma ghfir li fulan. 40 mu'mineen I must name before I move into saying istighfar for myself. The collective is extremely important. Someone came to the sixth Imam and he said, I asked the sixth Imam, I said, Ya Rasulullah, what is the right of one believer over the other? What is the right of a mu'min over another mu'min? The Imam says that there are 7 things that the believer has over the other. 7 obligatory rights. And he says each of these rights is mandatory upon his brother. And if he neglects any of them, he exits the guardianship, the wilayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He leaves the wilayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he abandons the obedience and the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he has no share in the kingdom of Allah. 7 things that if you do not do for your fellow mu'min brother, Allah considers you out of His wilayah, out of His kingdom. None of your ibadat is accepted. Imagine. The mu'min holds this maqam. That they say that the hurma of the mu'min is greater than the hurma of the Kaaba. The sanctity of the mu'min is greater than the sanctity of the Kaaba. If it is between destroying the honor of a believer and destroying the Kaaba, you can go and destroy the Kaaba. You have no right to destroy the honor and the respect of a believer. You have no right. So the 7 things that the 6th Imam says the first of these rights is that you love for him what you love for yourself, and you dislike for him what you dislike for yourself. Whatever I like the most, whatever I love the most, is what I present to someone. It's what I want for them. Sometimes when I'm in a situation and I can help someone out, well, I'll always choose something that's like sort of middle of the road. Or when we have guests at home and we want to serve them, we're like, no, don't give those biscuits. Give these ones. Someone gave them to us. We don't eat those. I don't like these. Put these out. They'll eat them. Because this is the mindset that we have developed. It says, no, the mu'min. You love for the mu'min what you love for yourself. You dislike for him what you dislike for yourself. But I do the opposite. I love for him what I dislike, and I dislike for him what I love. There is no aspect of sharing. When the early Muslims came to Medina, the Ansar of Medina, they split everything 50-50. If they had a house with 2 floors, they turned to the Muhajirin and said, one of you can take 1/2 of my house, I'll take the other half. Others came and they split their wealth. But do I have that jazba? Do I have that desire to aid other mu'mineen? The second characteristic, or the second right that a believer has over another believer, says, the 6th Imam says that you assist him with yourself, with your wealth, with your tongue, hands and feet. The khidmah of other mu'mineen. The khidmah, to serve another believer. Why is it that in our communities the number 1 problem that we have is volunteers? Why is it that we can't get people to dedicate their time for the Husayniyah, for the service of mu'mineen? It's because we've moved so far from the traditions of Ali Muhammad that we find ourselves, oh no, my time's more important. What do? I'm not getting anything out of it. Everything has to be some sort of value coming back to me. And if I'm not getting anything out of it that I can tangibly grab hold of, tangibly calculate, then I want no part of it. And the fact that we have this problem in every single community, it shows that somewhere along the line there's been a corruption in that understanding of the deen. We have allowed deviant ideas, attachment to the dunya, various things to corrupt that vision, corrupt that ideal that was taught to us by Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. To be a khadim of the people, to be in khidmah to the community, to not look at personalities, but look at the collective. I fall out with one individual within this community. I fall out with one individual in an executive. I don't mean you directly, generally. I fall out with one member of the executive. That's it. I cut myself off from the community. Everyone go to hell. But all I do by cutting myself off from a community is actually deprive myself of being in a masjid. One of the greatest places to pray is the masjid. And so the service of the mu'mineen, to be a khadim of the mu'mineen, is one of the greatest maqam that an individual can achieve. The third thing, the Imam says, that you seek his pleasure and avoid his displeasure and obey his commands. What the mu'min wants from you, what the mu'min asks of you, you seek to fulfill it. You seek to make the mu'min happy. You don't seek to upset him. At times we become so vindictive that we seek to destroy the honor of someone else. Rumors, gossip, ghiba, whatever we can do, we'll bring it up just so that I can bring someone else down. But bringing anyone else down does not raise me up. If anything, spiritually, socially, it brings me down. The fourth, you act for the mu'min as his eyes, his guide, and his mirror. You act as the eyes, you look out for your fellow mu'min. What is it that the need of my fellow believer is? I act as a guide, showing him the way. If there are troubles, there are issues in his way, I act as the mirror to my fellow brother. Al-mu'minu mira'at al-mu'min. The mirror shows, and if I am the recipient of said advice from another believer, then I should be humble enough to accept that advice. Not be like, oh, this is, I don't want to hear it. You're backwards, you're whatever. Be willing to hear and listen to the advice. The mu'min is the mirror of the other mu'min. Be willing to see what the mirror is showing you. The fifth thing is that you do not eat while he is hungry. You do not drink while he is thirsty, or clothe yourself while he has nothing to wear. The altruism that is being spoken about here is not even talking about those that are perpetually hungry. It's like you wait to the mu'min. One of the adab of the sufra is this. When everyone is sitting, then you begin to eat. You allow one to begin. These are various manners, adab of sitting down at the table to eat. Then an individual waits for another mu'min. You go to some communities and the salah hasn't even finished and there's a mass rush. Salat al-Isha hasn't run, especially Shaykh Ramadan. And you can already hear it. People are rushing towards the food. And there's some believers, who are still, trying to make their way. But there's like this huge rush of people. Alhamdulillah, here there is like a calm nizam, like it's a calm system of operation. Well, some places I say it's pandemonium. Nobody even wants to come and shake your hands after the salah. They're like, look, forget you. We'll see you later. Once you've eaten, we'll be back. So the mu'min does not, he remains hungry while he knows his other mu'min brother is hungry. It's not literal, but it's more metaphorical. That you have ihsas, a sense of what the other is feeling, and empathy towards another. The sixth thing is that if you have a servant, inshallah none of you have here, but that's gone. But if you have a servant and he does not, or if you have a wife to care for you and he does not, you send your servant to go and wash his clothes, prepare his food, and arrange his bedding. The idea being, if there is a mu'min in need, whatever resources you have at your disposal, you send them so that it can ease the life of the other believer. The whole point is easing the life of another mu'min. The seventh thing says you fulfill his oaths. When you've made a promise to him, you make sure you keep that promise in the truest sense. When you tell a mu'min, sometimes we have this habit where we say to people, they're like, how far away are you? 10 minutes. I'm just around the corner and I haven't left the house yet. Number one, that's a lie. And that's a sin as it is. But the second thing is that the other issue is that you're making the mu'min wait, contrary to the promise that you made that you would be there at that time to collect the individual. Fulfill your oaths. When you make a promise, keep to that promise. And one day the Holy Prophet makes a pact with Ammar to meet him in a particular place. So the Holy Prophet reaches there at that time and he's standing there. And Ammar was delayed for some reason, whatever it may be. And now the sun rose and the Prophet stood there and it was beating down on the face of the Prophet. Someone came and said, Ya Rasulullah, what are you waiting here for? Says that, oh, Ammar, I was supposed to meet him, but he hasn't arrived yet. Says, Ya Rasulullah, why don't you just move a few steps across and go into the shade? Says, no, I promised Ammar that I would meet him here, in this place. To move away from it is dhulm. This is, again, when we're talking at levels, these are the minutiae of spirituality. These small things that make all the difference. And it comes to this sense of responsibility that you have for yourself. It says he fulfills his oaths. The mu'min accepts the invitation of his mu'min brother. When they invite you to come to their home, you accept. When they invite you to food, they accept. Whatever they invite you to, except that which is haram, obviously, you accept. And you accept his invitations. You visit him when he is ill. Not say, oh, I'll see you when he gets back. No, visit a mu'min. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll talk about having guests in our house and what the impact of that is and what the negative aspects are of not allowing people into your house and not inviting people into your home. You visit him while he is ill. The other right of the mu'min brother or sister over you is you attend his funeral when he passes away. And if he has a need from you, you hasten to fulfill it without making him ask for it. Don't wait. You know he has a need or she has a need. Go and fulfill it. Don't wait for them to come and ask you. Say, yeah, I can help him, but he needs to come and ask me. I'm not just going to go and offer help. It says, go before you're even asked, and offer your help. These 7 things, the Imam says, he says, if you do this, if you do these 7 things, you connect with your guardianship, your wilayah with his. And his guardianship is with the guardianship of Allah. And thus you connect and enter into the wilayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, the Glorious. You enter into the wilayah, but you leave a mu'min. You leave the wilayah. Of those 7, how many of those things do I actually do? Usually what we find when I look at myself is that I am a champion at upsetting mu'mineen. I'll look for any reason to put down another mu'min. I'll look at any reason to belittle another mu'min. One of the companions of the 6th Imam, he comes to visit him, and the Imam looks at him and says to him, why is it that you belittled us at Ja'far? He says, what do you mean? Imam, I've never belittled you. I've never spoken about you in this way. The Imam says, yes, you belittled us. Says, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, when? The Imam says, do you not remember when a mu'min approached you in Ja'far and asked you for a ride on your camel just for a few miles down the road, and you looked at him with a belittling look and you went away? Says, anyone who belittles a mu'min has belittled us, Ahlul Bayt. Even with your eyes. Sometimes not even with your tongue. When you roll your eyes at someone, or you send a rolling eyes emoji even. Sometimes you can't even be bothered to roll our eyes nowadays. I become so lazy, I just send an emoji instead of how little I think of you. So I'll just send you a rolling eyes emoji. Oh, here it goes again, with an opinion. It says, you belittle a mu'min. It is as if you have belittled Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And then one step further, if you hurt a mu'min, the narration says, Man adha mu'minan walau bishattari al-kalima, one who hurts a mu'min, even to the extent of a single word. Even to the extent of a single word. Says, جاء يوم القيامة مكتوب بين عيني آيس من رحمة الله. Says it will be inscribed between his eyes on the day of judgment. This person is distant from the mercy of God, removed from the mercy of God. And then the Imam continues. He says it is as if he has destroyed the Kaaba, Baytul Maqdis, and has killed 10,000 of the Malaika of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For what? For one word that hurt another mu'min. For one word. You all know who Ali ibn Yaqteen is. Ali ibn Yaqteen is one of the wazir of Harun al-Rashid, one of the close Shi'as of the Imam. Ali ibn Yaqteen is at such a level that the 7th Imam says to him that, Ali, when I was in Arafah, in the Hajj, and I was doing dua, says, Ali, all I could think about was you, and I was praying for you on Yawm al-Arafah, in the plains of Arafah. Imagine the maqam of Ali ibn Yaqteen. That the hujjah of Allah is saying, I was praying for you and thinking about you in Arafah. But can you imagine this same Ali ibn Yaqteen falls from grace? So one day, Ali ibn Yaqteen, after completing his Hajj, he comes to visit the Imam. And the Imam, he comes, knocks at the door, the servant answers the door, says, I'm here to see the Imam. Says, who is it? Says, Ali ibn Yaqteen. He goes and he comes back, says, the Imam says, don't let him in. Says, what do you mean, me? I'm Ali ibn Yaqteen. Did you tell him Ali ibn Yaqteen, the wazir, the one he appointed to the court of Harun, told me to be? Says, yes, he knows who you are. He's saying, leave. Ali ibn Yaqtin, the minister has no right to enter. Ali ibn Yaqtin now, for an individual, for a mu'min, his whole world has been dragged from underneath his feet. The imam is sending him away from the door. So he begins pacing outside the door until Imam al-Kadhim comes out. He runs up to him and says, Ya Rasulullah, did I do something wrong? The imam says, you did not give passage or give your time to one of our mu'mineen, and so we did not give you our time. He says, I don't understand. He says, do you not remember Ibrahim al-Jammal who came to visit you? Ali ibn Yaqtin says, I realized some weeks ago there was a man by the name of Ibrahim Jammal, one of the Shias of Ahl al-Bayt, who came to visit me with a matter that needed to be dealt with. At that day, I had some issues. There was a lot going on. And I just fobbed him off. I told him, look, sorry, I can't deal with this matter now. And he left. Imam says, until that mu'min does not forgive you, you have no path, no way towards us. Ali ibn Yaqtin straight away makes his way to Kufa. From Medina to Kufa. He goes to the house of Ibrahim Jammal. He knocks at the door, finds out where he lives first. He goes, he knocks at the door. Says, Ibrahim Jammal, says, I disrespected you the other day. I was unaware of your how I spoke to you. Forgive me. Ibrahim Jammal says, no, it's okay. It was, you were busy. Says, no. He lays down on the ground and he says, place your foot on my face. Says, this face that has known arrogance must know humbleness. Says, and now when Ibrahim Jammal does this, Ali ibn Yaqtin, he raises his hands and says, Ya Allah, I have humbled myself and asked for forgiveness from this mu'min. Now soften the heart of the hujjah of Allah towards me. He leaves, he goes, and then Imam al-Kadhim sees him again, embraces him more than anything. The maqam of the mu'min is extremely important. The position of the mu'min is extremely important. To maintain the honor and the dignity of the mu'min is paramount. We look at any place, anywhere to destroy the hurma of the mu'min. You look at times AGMs, those people who have served the community selflessly, and the amount of venom that comes out from the public. In the end, these are still human beings. These are still mu'mineen. Just because it may be a professional setting does not remove what the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. That whatever we can find, whatever rumor, whatever we can spew against them, we do it and hurt whoever we hurt in the process, but this is haqq. It's not the way to do it. And this is far from the seerah of Ahl al-Bayt. This is far from what Ahl al-Bayt want from the Shi'as of Ahl al-Bayt. Have to be very aware of what we're doing, our words, how we are addressing people. Am I doing my actions? Are they hurting another mu'min? In this month, one of the fundamental things that we are asking for is the unity of the community. Dua iftitah, when you recite it every night after iftar, it's one of the things. At the end, this is where you are asking Allah, unite us through Him. Unite us through Him. Allahumma inna narghabu ilayka fi dawlatin karima. We're praying for you that we witness that dawlatin karima of the Imam. We together, collectively, are asking. And this is why part of Dua al-Iftitah is that it must be recited in a collective. There is a whole idea behind reciting together as mu'mineen. Because there may be someone in that crowd whose dua is accepted, and as a result of the barakah of that individual, everyone else's dua is accepted. Another reminder, you should have, from yesterday, those that heard, Dua al-Mujir is recommended to be recited in the 13th, 14th, and 15th of this holy month. Yesterday you will have recited day one. The amal is for 3 days. You must recite it on the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th in order to reap the benefits that we spoke about yesterday. The collective is very important. To do dua collectively, to help other mu'mineen, to serve others selflessly. This is what is needed. Otherwise, when a community moves away from the seerah of the hujjah of Allah, moves away from the door of the hujjah of Allah, then we have seen what that results in. That results in Karbala. Earlier today, a mu'minah was buried, a follower of Ahl al-Bayt, a Shia of Ali Muhammad. And in that burial, others came, mu'mineen came, and they buried her. Her children were present, and they buried her. And this itself is a barakah. To be there, to be able to bury one's parents, one's loved ones. And no matter how much the pain is for us, we as the followers of Ahl al-Bayt have been blessed with one place where we take all our sorrows and we place them. The Imam says, Ya ibn Shabib, in kunta bakiyan li Shaykh, fabki lil Husayn, فإنه ضبها كما يضبه الكبش. Says, oh, son of Shabib, if you want to cry for something in your life, if you have lost someone in your life, if you have issues in your life, cry for Hussein alayhi salam. Why? فإنه ضبها كما يذبح الكبش. For he was slaughtered in the way that the cows are slaughtered, the sheep are slaughtered. Aba Abdullah was killed in such a way. When Sajjad alayhi salam came to the body of Imam al-Hussein, I was thinking earlier of a funeral. When you come, you bury, the loved ones were around, the children were around, they buried them. But when Sajjad returned on the 13th of Muharram to the plains of Karbala, in order to bury Aba Abdullah, what he saw in front of him was Bani Asad standing around. He asked them, why are you standing? They said that we don't know whose body is whose. All of the heads have been removed. Sajjad says, I will tell you whose body is whose. They all looked at Imam al-Sajjad. They said, who are you? He says, I am Ali ibn al-Husayn al-Sajjad. That body you see lying by the Alqama, that body that has been cut to pieces, his arm severed from its body, that is the body of my uncle Abbas. And this body here that you see, that the limbs have been separated, this body is the body of my father, Abu Abdullah. He goes towards the body of Imam al-Hussein. He digs the grave of Abi Abdullah. Then he turns towards Bani Asad. He says, Bani Asad, do you have a mat of some sort? And they say, Imam, we thought that you shouldn't give, you don't need to give kafan to the shaheed. He says, it's not for kafan, but when my father's body was trampled after his death, it has become in such a way that I can't lift it in one piece. I will take it piece by piece, place it on this mat, and lower it into the earth. They give it to the Imam. The Imam readies the body of Sayyid al-Shuhada, and then he begins to look across the earth, looking for something precious. They say to the Imam, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, what are you looking for? Imam says, I'm looking for the finger of my father, Abu Abdullah. When one man came to loot the body of my father, he tried to remove the ring, but the ring would not come off the finger. So instead he severed the finger of my father, Abu Abdullah. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, forgive our sins. Ya Allah, forgive the sins of our parents. Ya Allah, the marhuma that we buried today, Ya Allah, ease her journey into the akhirah. Ya Allah, let these tears that we have shed for Aba Abdullah be a source of light for her in this first night of her grave. Ya Allah, ease her journey into the barzakh, ease the questioning of Munkar and Nakir for her, and allow her to receive the shafa'ah of Ali Muhammad. Ya Allah, those who are ill, give them shafa'ah. Those who are in debt, clear their debt. Ya Allah, give safety, sanctuary to the people of Gaza, to the people of Lebanon and Syria, Parachinar, Kashmir, wherever there are mu'mineen around the world. Ya Allah, give them safety and sanctuary. Ya Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and allow us to be amongst his true muntadhireen, his true waiters, for the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as that you brothers and sisters have brought. Please recite three of your loudest salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
For Muhammad and wa ali Muhammad salawat. Brothers and sisters, Salat time is 7:27, so I'm just going to take a few minutes of your time and go over all the announcements. Today's program is sponsored by Amir Ali and Shirin Suleiman, Mumtaz Hemraj, Aftab Abdul Rasul Sumar, Muhammad Naulakia for the Isal Sawab of all Mahrumeen in Ghulam Abbas Suleiman family, all Mahrumeen in Abdullah Hemraj family, all Marhumin in Abdul Rasul Sumar family, all Marhumin in the Naulakia family, and Marhuma Shahnaz Qasim Omar. Also, tonight's program is sponsored by the Khuda for the Isal Sawab of all Marhumin in the donors family and all Marhumin. Al-Fatiha. Tonight's program and iftar has also been sponsored by the family of Marhuma Shahnaz Qasim Omar. Tonight is also the Ziyarat Majlis of Marhuma Shahnaz Qasim Omar. Marhuma was buried early today at Forest Lawn Cemetery. On behalf of the entire community and the executive committee and the entire Jamaat, we convey our sincere condolences to the grieving family and friends. Indeed, Marhuma Shahnaz was a very liked person among us. We will all miss her dearly. She has been a long-standing member of the community. She faced all her life's challenges with resilience and courage and was always there for her friends and family and whoever needed help. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant her a complete maghfirat and a very lofty and high place in heaven among Allah's most chosen ones. Please don't forget to remember the marhuma in your du'as and supplications and prayers if you can. Please offer sadaqah, hadiya mayyat, and sadaqah on her behalf. Let us all please recite Surah Fatiha for the marhuma. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Thank you. Dua Nutbah tomorrow at 12:45 p.m. before Jummah Salat. This announcement is from the madrasa. Please join us for an open forum chat with Sheikh Nabil and Nabil Awan and Sheikh Salim Bimji tonight in the men's Imam Barga immediately after Majlis from 8:45 to about 10 p.m. and beyond if the discussions continue. If you are not able to stay beyond 10 p.m., you are welcome to leave early. Also tonight, we have a very special guest among us, the officer in charge, Chief Superintendent Dave Chauhan. He's sitting among us at the back over there. Thank you for standing up, Chief. Chief Superintendent Dave Chauhan has been with the RCMP for over 31 years, bringing an extensive and diverse operational and administrative policing experience to Richmond Detachment. He is honored to serve the citizens of this wonderful city and is committed to working together in collaboration with the City of Richmond and community partners in making Richmond one of the safest cities to live in Canada. Happy that you are with us among us today. Richmond RCMP has been excellent in their ongoing operational cooperation, collaboration, and keeping our community feel safe and connected to the RCMP. On behalf of our entire community, Chief, and many more, it has been nothing but an absolute pleasure to work with the Richmond RCMP. You and your team are always there for this community, and your commitment keeps us safe and in exemplary manner indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you for your services, your commitment to keep us safe, and continuous supporting us in our time of need. About my speeding ticket, I'll talk to you in private. Welcome, Chief. Please join us for iftar after Salat. Happy to have you here. For Muhammad and Wali Muhammad Salawat. Salat in about 2 minutes. Thank you.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وسلم.
Mu'mineen, just three very quick points before I begin. The first point is, amongst the two most detestable acts that a person can do is one, in the eyes of Allah, is speaking during the adhan and speaking in the masjid. This is a masjid, it has ahkam. The third point to note is because we won't have much time to recite Salat al-Wahshat, Salat al-Wahshat is not necessary that it be recited after Maghrib. So for the marhuma, those of you that are wishing to recite the Salah even later on in the night, you can recite it, and please do. Inshallah, you have mercy now, and someone will have mercy on you at your time as well. So we won't have time between, but please do go home and recite it for her as well. Sentum. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر الله